Pictures, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in a student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wayne in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. And holy crud, thank you, Copy. I was curious, I was going to ask you, how much gold did you have when you died? And she said 12,000 gold. So, surprise, everybody, I'm here this week. Only because I am taking a break from Riot Fest, just long enough to come and join you before I go and head out again. Anyhow, you are listening today on the 21st of Sunday. It is 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT, and we are coming to you live. I am joined, as always, by our good friend Ken. How are you doing this week, sir?
Hello, sir. I'm doing fan-dabby-dozy. I'm in a very good mood today, actually. I'm pretty damn happy. I'm really happy to be here. I'm sad it's Sunday as well, because while this is like a great finisher to the weekend, it also means I'm back into the working hours again tomorrow, you know? So I don't have any free time.
Oh, yes. It's the standard usual issue you run into where it's kind of like, and back to work.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be staying up all night playing Sims or World of Warcraft or all these really cool normal games to play. Ah, well. First world problems indeed. How are you, sir? How are you?
Oh, boy. So, I am smack dab in the middle of my, month of craziness for all the events, starting with the Tough Mudder at the beginning of the month, followed by NandisCon, which just happened last week that you guys heard of, as Ken, your first time hosting the video feed and everything like that. Good job. You were able to make it work,
sir, no problem.
As you got to appreciate some more of the issues I usually run into trying to run a show.
You can say that again. Jesus Christ, that was tough.
I'm glad that you got to do that, so that it's, it makes me feel better that you at least can appreciate a little more of the inner workings of putting on a podcast like this, as well as now that we have the videocast side of things. So, thank you for that. And then this week,
no problem.
This week, I have been going to Riot Fest all weekend, which is this large concert that I've been telling you about was coming up. Seeing multiple bands. It's all weekend, started Friday, and went on through Saturday and into today. In fact, after the show, I will not be partaking in the gaming night because I need to head back downtown Denver for more concerts, hopefully getting there in time for the Violent Femmes, which will be the first band going tonight that I would see. And if I go and last through the entire night and make it over to the other stage to see some 303 and such, and then maybe end up, although it'll be pressing it because I do too have to work tomorrow, getting to go see Wu-Tang Clan tonight. They're the final showing and they end up at like 11 o'clock at night. That might be pushing it. We'll see. It's going to be very determined based on which members of Wu-Tang actually show up today. If everybody does come, then awesome. I will check it out. If the Rizinjas are there, I will probably stick around for it, or at least part. If it's just the B crew, the people that sit in the background that you maybe see in a video or two, I'll be out of there early, actually get some sleep, and be able to go into work tomorrow feeling somewhat normal. So, to say the least, it's a culmination of a whole month of activity that's still going on next week as well. And next weekend you will be solo because I'll be out doing ninja stuff. But, It's so far been well. I'm trying to stay above it. I had gotten sick at NandisCon, and now I'm still recovering. I had gotten sick from the Tough Mudder leading into NandisCon, and I've still got like that little bit in the throat as I've been yelling and screaming, especially yesterday. So let's see. My week, and I'll go ahead and get into this officially with
dysfunctional deviations.
Because in dysfunctional deviations this week, doing the whole concert thing, I want to thank both my friend Lieutenant Fork as well as my friend Tay-Ray that came with me to the concert yesterday. Lieutenant Fork came with me from Friday and is going again today. She's in the other room. I don't know if she's paying attention to the show or not, but she's in the other room probably working on homework on my laptop. But
my comments about a girl being in that room working on homework, but carry on.
Oh, why? Where's Lexi at?
She's not in high school, so through another room.
Neither is Lieutenant Fork. She's in college, going in for her CIS degree.
Sure, Lieutenant Fork's there. Sure.
Oh, you're just as bad as people who've always tried to push these things. Anyhow, so let's see. Started out with the Friday, going to the concert, seeing what were some of the bands that we focused on there. The main one was we started with everything prior. There's a whole carnival going on down there where they have rides, they have little carnival games, food, things like that, and they have 4 stages set up that are opposing each other, 2 that are in one area, 2 in the other, and the two are main stages, 2 backup stages, and they set it up so that there's always a band playing on either set of stages. And so on the main stages, the Mayfarms and Byers stages, they're opposing to each other, but they're always one of the top line bands. And then on the other 2 stages, they have some of the secondary bands, things like that, but there's always music going on either one of the stages. And as soon as one band finishes, because they have the other stage, the other setup has occurred, and then the other band starts, within minutes of that previous band ending.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it is a constant, and they're doing a really good job of maintaining and managing this whole concert. I'm impressed. Because having such big names and going back and forth like that's just been a brilliant thing to experience. First band I checked out was Diantward, the South African ridiculous hip-hop rap group that they are
That's
everything.
a strange combo.
They are. Anyone who's gone and seen them online or checked out any of the videos, they are unique. If you have not seen Diantward, check them out. Yolandi is just as I expected, as is Ninja, the 2 singers on it, as well as DJ High Tech. It was a good show. They really got the crowd pumped, although it was one of the few shows where I had to watch out a little bit for the mosh pit, for the people involved in the concert that are too into it and don't give a rat's ass about what anyone else is doing or the fun they want to have, which I have a whole commentary on. People being selfish really bugs me, and that was a big part of it. And so we got in there, we're having fun. We weren't at the front, we weren't at the back, kind of in the middle, and there were always some asshats around us who wanted to start getting everybody moshing. And my reaction to that, because I essentially was protecting Lieutenant Fork because she's a smaller gal.
Sure.
And basically so that people didn't throw her into the middle and stuff. So I would put elbows out as kind of a wall around these guys. And for the most part, deflected and kept them out there. I had other groups of family members and, adults around me that were also like, I just want to enjoy the band. You guys go somewhere else. But then they had a few of them that got pissed and basically tried to give a commentary to me, this one drunken fool, because a lot of people that were drunk and high, that was trying to tell me how, dude, it's Riot Fest. People are going to get hurt. It's going to happen. This is what it is. I was like, only because of you. Everyone else over here is chilling. You guys are the asshats. And so I caught my elbow, got pissed at me, and started pushing elbows back at me. And I was like, look, I'm not moving. I'm just standing here. You're the one who's running into me. So if you're getting an elbow, that's because you ran at me, not because I moved. So
no, definitely.
Screw you.
I understand why they're there to do that. Like, that's fine. There's always a place for that at these kind of concerts, right?
Yeah, go up to the front.
Do
the mosh pit.
They don't want to be involved.
That's my issue.
Okay.
Yeah, they're so self-absorbed that they don't care that some people just want to enjoy the show. They feel like it's people who can't understand that not everyone has fun the same way, and that it's not the only way to have fun is their way. And that's the problem you run into, is people that are so self-absorbed that that's all they can deal with is like, oh, well, if you're not moshing, then you're doing it wrong. It's like, well, go over there and mosh. I don't care.
Just these boring people. Let's make them have fun. Let's make them.
And that's kind of what happened with that. Anyhow, that was really the only time it was that bad. There was a little bit that happened end of the night Friday, which headliner that we saw was Weezer. And I did not realize how many Weezer songs I knew and how popular and how many things they've had over the years, because it's just, I always knew their music. I know the band. I'm really terrible about being disconnected between the two. And so there were songs that came out, I was like, oh, I know this song. Oh, this is Weezer? Oh, cool. And so really great
I
shows.
still think of them having the one song as well. I think
which one's for you? Because the one for me for growing up was Buddy Holly.
Oh no, mine. I know that is their song, but no, mine was.
But I knew them in the. Which one?
Teenage Dirtbag. That is the same band, right?
Oh yeah. I think. I don't know. I'm terrible at mixing the bands and names, so if we're wrong, let us know, but that's probably me.
I'm terrible with it as well.
No,
hey, this is not a music show. Even though we have some musicians on occasion, this is not a music
exactly.
show.
Well, it's just appreciating what's out there, because these bands span the years. A lot of these bands have been around for quite some time, and Weezer, I remember them in high school, so for me, back in the early 90s, when they were all big and such, and continuing on, because Lieutenant Fork was like, oh, I totally grooved on them in my middle school, high school years. I was like, wait, they were still making music then? But
Yeah, I never knew that either. I knew Buddy Holly. Like, I did know that, but...
Yeah, exactly. So they were a great show. They sounded amazing live. If anybody is following Lieutenant Fork on Snapchat, she put out like 300 and... Well, it was like an hour's worth of snaps. So 380 whatever stuff. Because it was all of us doing stuff at the concert, the different band stuff. Is actually very entertaining. But one way to go check out kind of what's been going on. Also, then yesterday, we took our time and didn't go back right away. Because basically the lineup yesterday didn't matter. There's a whole bunch of groups, a whole bunch of bands the whole day starting at noon going to midnight, but I didn't care about not a one of them. The only band that mattered to me yesterday, and I'll get to it because it was amazing, but prior to that, I went downtown. Lieutenant Fork had to do some homework and was hurt, and so was just kind of recovering from being out all day on Friday. And so I went downtown by myself because my dance school, School of Breaking, was going to do kind of an impromptu show down on 16th Street Mall, which is our walking mall here in Denver. So we went down there. I went to join in with that group. And if video surfaces, I may link it out. But we found they were doing a little, and this is kind of hard for me to deal with, but they're doing a peace festival. Like, peace and love, everyone. Get along.
Okay.
And I walked into it kind of like, I'm in the business of not peace.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the business of war, but I'll chill and see what's going on. And so they had a lot of, it was like hippie day yesterday.
Well, I see. I agree with the principle, right? I think in principle we shouldn't have to fight like that. But the point is, in real life we do, because people are bad and we need to solve that sometimes.
The problem is because, not everybody else believes in peace. It's like, you know, just because us as first world nations sit there and say, it's kind of stupid to fight unless you really need to defend something. We're not trying to do it just for power. We're doing it for political influence and other things. But anyhow, it was interesting.
People, yeah.
Well, because for me, a festival like that, where basically everyone involved are people that already believe in the subject and already care. And so I don't know if they really were like trying to get the word out to others and recruit more, because it didn't seem like there's a whole lot of randoms coming off the street and appreciating it. It seemed more just like the self-serving, we are all this circle of people who care, and so we're going to have a festival for ourselves.
Yeah.
And, they had a guy in there from, from Uganda, I think, talking about challenges that were happening there and such, and I'm just like, cool, great that you're bringing up more issues for that. I don't know what you're trying to gain from this, what the goal of the festival was. That's okay.
So wait, was a festival, like a protest rally is more accurate, right? That makes sense, because
they had a stage set up, they were doing music and stuff, and they had people talking, and then they had booths set up, which were all the green hippie things going on.
Well, I suppose it's to raise awareness more than anything, right? It's to say, hey, look, we're alive, this community exists, it's
I guess.
fun, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, that's the thing, I guess. I don't really know, because I couldn't gain that from it. Now, granted, I wasn't really paying attention, because we went there more because they had a live band, and unfortunately down on 16th Street, you can't, without a permit, have powered music, like a boombox or anything like that.
Sure,
and so in order to break dance, we needed some music, but hey, they had a live stage and band. So we went up and kind of stole their dance area, or part of it, brought out the linoleum, laid it out, taped it down so a dance surface, set up the camera and everything, and then School of Breaking came and performed and did a great job. And it was funny because we went from, when we first were there were like 3 or 4 hippies with hula hoops dancing around in the front of the stage to like a crowd forming around us to watch the break dancing.
Of course.
And it went out.
That's
It was, oh my gosh, it was fun. And I had kind of gone out there with the purpose where I wore dance shoes, my dance pants, and a shirt that worked. Because while I am not one of the good break dancers at the school, I kind of figured, I could give it a shot, at least dancing some, because we're doing this. And so I went out there and, a couple times out into the middle of the linoleum and did my bit. Like I said, I can't get on the ground and do any 6 steps or things like that, but I was able to do my little stand-up dance and such, and I got good
still got
praise.
Like 3 months till the reception. That's enough time to get all down.
Hey, I can almost get a windmill down. I did do that one at Nandascon at the dance that surprisingly went well 3 times in a row without falling off it, and I actually did one last night walking away from the concert. But I didn't try one at this because we had like all of my instructors, or a couple of them, Chase and Tommy Gunn, were both there, and they are old school b-boy hip hop guys that were able to do all the ground action. My friend Kitty was there, younger gal that is surprisingly good. I think if she realized how good she was, would dance even better. Another gal that came out with her kids that are both amazing, real young. I think her son's maybe 11, her daughter's maybe like 7 or something. that could do all the groundwork moves, spins,
Oh, that's
things
so
like
cool.
that. And it's
Like a
awesome
whole
because
family doing it, that's cool.
yeah, and they come out well because I came to find out that the gal is like she has natural talent and dances anyways. Whenever she comes to class and dances, it's like she just comes out all hip top out, just having a good time. And so I was kind of like, all right, cool. But talking to her a little more, I started. I had to ask. I was like, why? How are you so good? What do you do that allows you to be as good as you are? Because this isn't new to you. You know how to dance. And she was kind of like, well, okay. So I used to dance for the Denver Nuggets and for the Denver Broncos on the professional like dance teams for our sports teams. And I was kind of like, well, there you go. Maybe that explains why you are such an extremely attractive woman that's able to dance so damn well. Thank you. And it goes in the family, obviously, because your kids are equally pretty amazing. Anyhow, we had a great showing, tons of fun, did the dance thing. I got out there and danced a few times. We'll see if something comes out of that. And then from that, I collected my friend Tay Ray. She met me downtown. Drove back home, picked up Lieutenant Fork, and headed out to Riot Fest. Again, we hung out. They rode the rides. They rode the Ferris wheel type thing that was there and such like that. We got food to eat some of the greasiest gyros I've ever had, which were fine at first and ended up as gut bombs by the end of the night.
Yeah.
That was bad. Because the night before we had a gyro from another stand that was amazing. This one was tasty, but we felt it. And then we played
It's
miniature
good to have a
golf.
thing like that that's incredibly greasy once in a while. If you have it frequently,
Yeah,
you become the grease.
If you've been drinking, not if you're
so
drinking.
good.
Yeah, since I've given up drinking, now it's just a gut bomb. So it's one of those that it was entertainment. It was good food. It filled us up. But man, we suffered later. And then we also, because this festival goes on, we were waiting for the band we cared about to come on. We played miniature golf. They had a little course set up that is hilarious because it's all this counterculture thing. And so the obstacles in it was like the pizza round. They had where you're playing on a piece of pizza. They had a big, flipping you off hand built up that you had to go around. They had a big pot leaf sitting in the bottom one. And
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
silliness like that. I was like, well, we're at Riot Fest and it's all how it is in Denver now. And get into that too, because the amount of pot smoke and cigarette smoke and stuff around there. The massive halo of fro, unfortunately, is light enough that it picks up scents, and so I had to wash it thoroughly each night. Anyhow, the final story from Riot Fest, since we have another night to go tonight. Maybe you'll hear more when I come back after another week. But the headliner for last night was The Cure. And for me, The Cure is no question my favorite band. And if I do my
I'm glad
math
somebody
right...
enjoys it.
Oh, shush. They're amazing. You were too young.
There's got to be one person who enjoys it.
Yeah,
That's good.
It was the largest crowd in the entire thing showed up for The Cure, where we were queuing up from an hour before when the other band was playing. And everybody started gravitating to like, no, I want to be here for The Cure. You started looking around. It was great because everyone was a little older, a little more mature. I didn't get elbowed once during The Cure. Everyone just kind of found a spot, stood there, and grooved out to it the whole time. And the amazing thing, this I think was the fourth time I've seen The Cure live now. They played the way they play every time. They got out there, and they basically, once the time started, they walked on stage, said hello, and started playing. And they had 2.5 hours to play versus everyone else that got between an hour and a half to 45 minutes or so. And The Cure played for 2.5 hours. They stopped at one point at the last 10 minutes. At like when they had 10 minutes left, they stopped, walked off stage for a second, grabbed a drink, came back, and did the little encores that you did with 3 more songs at the end, and played right till midnight, and we're done. And that's what The Cure does. Wow. They don't need an opening band. They don't give any hijinks. They don't sit there and spend a lot of time BSing with the crowd. They come out, do an amazing show, and get off.
It's important to have that, to be fair.
Well, they interact, but they don't stop the concert and go like, hey, everybody, hey, it's Denver, da-da-da. They were just like, real quick, Robert, because you could tell Robert Smith, the lead singer, was having an amazing time last night, because he was playing some of the happier songs, Friday I'm in Love, High, things like that, that were just a little higher beat and such, and he was just grooving. And it was one of those things where I had a question, if I had a chance to interview any artist, especially someone like Robert Smith, who's been doing this since the early 70s, it's one of those things where you've been playing some of the same music for 30 plus years, almost 40 years you've been playing some of this music.
Sick of it are you?
Yeah, it's one of those like, do you ever get tired of playing these songs? But you saw him on stage, and he just was like head back, just having fun. Where it's like, well, I guess I don't need to ask that question.
Are you sure he wasn't asleep?
Oh no, he was grooving, just having fun with it. You could see it in the smiles and the way he changed up some of his songs. It was so much fun. It was an epic show. Walked away from there. We left a little early because we knew the masses come out of there, but it was open air concert. So as we're walking around the stadium to start heading towards the train, we knew that we could still hear the music. And so as we were going away, there's at least snap video, if not other video, of me essentially dancing my entire way out of the concert, where I was nonstop from the get-go till they finished the concert. And we ended up kind of sitting up by the stadium, up above the concert, looking down at the stage, they were playing like Close to Me and Boys Don't Cry and such at the very end, which, so awesome. When apparently the wife of the mayor of the town of, what was it, Manitou? The town of Manitou here in Colorado, who's apparently exactly 10 years older than me, came dancing up to our group, saw that we were dancing, and danced right into it. It was just grooving like, hey, other people that really are into it. And so we all danced through the last couple songs together with that, and she was like claiming like, oh, you kids. And I was like, please, I'm not that much younger than you. Yeah, 10 years, but come on. And so we just, we had a great time with her, lovely gal, just awesome to hang out with at the end there. We all grooved together, danced together, walked out, and just, it was an epic night. And other than sticking Tay-Ray on the wrong train home, I think everything ended up wonderful from it. Well, she figured out real quick.
Home, that sounds bad.
Well, she figured this exit because it was closest to the street she would get off if driving, and she really needed to get out another one, and so she could have stayed on the train with us the whole way. But instead, it was like, oh, you need to go here? You have to get on this line. That's what the map says. And she goes, okay, goes. Wish her a good to-do, wave her goodbye, get on our train, and then get a text from her saying, that was the wrong exit. It's just oh no. It's like, it's the middle of the night. Are you okay? Are you alone? What's going on? And she did just fine, got home safe, so it all worked out well. We got home, stayed up, watched a little more anime, passed out, got up, our feet are killing us, decided we didn't need to get to the concert early today because the Violent Femmes go on at 4. So by the time the show ends for us today, I'll be able to take the train down there and get there in time to at least see part of them, if not the whole set. Because again, it's the Violent Femmes. The only song anybody knows is Blister in the Sun. After that, everyone's like, they had an album, right? So, not too worried, and that'll probably be the last song they play anyways. Anyhow.
Then.
Yeah. All right, so going to the IRC real quick, because I got it from Poos to say, Doc, I have a question for you. It says, a trained breakdancer doing headspins versus a ballet dancer doing pirouettes. Who'd be able to do more without stopping or losing balance? That's hard to say. That's a good question.
Without stopping, that depends which one is more tiring. I would say breakdancing is more tiring. As for balance,
well,
I don't think I'm...
The key here is I think it all depends on your training, because I have seen people who are amazing at both. Because doing pirouettes and spinning in ballet takes a certain form, because you have to be able to kick your leg around, pull it in, kick it around, pull it in. Breakdancing equally, but takes more than just the balance, because once you start a spin, and you're usually able to use your hips to keep that momentum going. And I say this because even there, my instructor Chase, or one of the instructors at my school, he did some things where during the breaks and songs, when they were kind of waiting and they're just kind of tuning or something as a band was playing, he did a couple where he did a stall on his hands for almost a minute solid, where he just did a handstand on a single hand, then he'd go to both hands, he'd drop to his elbows, back up to his hands, he'd pop up, hop a little bit on one arm, go down to his head, held out his head and his legs out for a little bit, and then spun real quick and got back. All like these transitions staying up on his hands or head or such for almost a minute solid, which is really impressive. At the same time, and I've seen dancers who can just spin and spin and spin. The thing I saw is at the LMFAO concert, they had one of these dance crews on there that was one of the most famous out there, because they had a guy who was noted as being the king of spins. And during an entire song, almost, for about 3 minutes at least, he did a head spin. For almost 3 minutes solid during the concert. Just because that's what he can do. And it was showing off extreme talent for doing. I was just like, gadeen. That's impressive, dude. So I don't know if there's a right answer or not, one way or the other. I'm just telling you what I've witnessed. And I thought it was pretty epic. So that's my answer to that. All right. that will cover, I will say, everything I've been doing that's not geeky this week. So, Ken, what have you been up to? I've been having a blast. What have you been doing?
Well, my country collapsed momentarily.
Oh, yeah.
Minorly collapsed, I'll say. So, Scottish independence referendum was held on Friday. Well, Thursday, but the outcome came out on Friday. So I went along and voted Thursday night. My work and every other places were filled with gossip and chat. Facebook, Twitter. I don't think I went 5 minutes the whole entire time I was awake on Thursday without seeing something or hearing something to do with the independence. I even went to an independence party that night, where most of the guys were staying up all night drinking and having coffee and food and independence-related snacks and stuff. For example, there was both a selection of British and Scottish beers. You drank whichever one you were backing. It was good fun. me and Ken popped along for a little while, and that was good fun. And for any of you who somehow don't know, we are still part of Britain, and we will be for some time.
Yes.
So the percentages were 55
God save the
to
Queen.
45.
God save the Queen. You are still a Brit. You are still part of the overall United Kingdom of Britain. And so
We're still a country as Scotland, but we're united into the kingdom. So we know we don't really have our own government that has full power, but it has some. So that's where we were before, and that's where we are now. But 45%, this is my personal opinion, is still damn high. That's millions of people unhappy with the way things are. And I remember saying the day before, during the day of the referendum, I said if it was 51-49, I would say there has to be like a revote in 2 weeks' time. There has to be, otherwise it's not fair, right? It's too close. So I said a 5% margin would be fair. And now that the 5% margin has happened, I'm still thinking like that's still a lot of people. That's so many people unrepresented in our country right now. Almost half. Almost half of the country is unrepresented.
Interesting. Well, I mean, so they say as a whole that, you know, people got their vote out. They got to express their opinions. I saw some of your response where you were showing the metrics of who voted for what. And it was kind of one of those where I think at least they need to take that break before voting again, now that the vote has passed, because otherwise it's trivial, right? If you lose and you can just start a new vote next week, then, you know, you're being a whiny git. And so it's one of those that I saw somewhere said, you know, at least 5 years before it comes up again or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
That makes sense to me, because you should, otherwise you're just belaboring the issue.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that, I'm just going to keep going until we win, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, there's still a yes campaign, yes being pro-independence and no being pro-together. There's still stuff going on all around Scotland right now. For example, there's a march in a week's time for Yes Scotland in Edinburgh, and so on and so forth. So they haven't given up. Alex Salmond, the First Minister, basically the head of government within Scotland, gave up his position yesterday because because he said his time is done and somebody else needs to take up the charge. So losing that, like, that was his life's goal, was to make Scotland independent. He managed to get 45 to 55.
Gotcha.
Pretty damn close.
Well, it's one of those, he succeeded in something. Yeah. But if he didn't win completely, well, and the nice thing there is at least that means he's being honest and holding to his guns, because it's one of those that you don't want a whining person who's kind of like, oh, I didn't win, but damn it, we're going to keep going. You know, well, and so if he's honest to it, good.
In fact, I looked on Facebook right now. I wanted to see how many posts there are that are not related to independence. So the first 4 were not. Then independence. There's another one. There's another one. There's another 2. And it's all about controversies of whether the vote was fair, the fact that they'll never give up, etc., etc. And to be fair, I think if the vote was in 2 weeks' time right now, I think independence would probably go through, because they had a steady climb of people converting over to the yes vote. There was so many. If you go around anywhere in Scotland right now, there is freaking yes stickers with just the word yes everywhere, on doors, on like cars, on windows, on the ground, just everywhere. Wow. Absolutely, people have clothes made out of it, towels, everything, just to try and promote it. And on Facebook as well, every single Scottish person almost, that's tons and tons of people on Facebook, have either a little yes badge or a little no badge next to the picture, just to show their support.
Wow.
And it was funny, the seeing no stuff was pretty rare. At least to me, it was pretty rare anyway.
Well, okay, now there's a piece of that, though, is from what I heard, it's that in Glasgow, specifically, it was like the hotbed for the yes vote. Like,
Yep.
that was where people wanted to be independent, and it was, I think the percentage there alone was like 70-30 or different or something like that.
Yeah. There are some places that are like hotbeds for it, yeah, definitely. And that's specifically why on Friday night, after the outcome of the independence polls, when we found out it was 55-45, that there were, I wouldn't call it a riot, but there was an outbreak of violence in Glasgow city centre and George Square. It was all over the news here. And the annoying thing is, now, while I am a no voter, I agree with the yes voters in one particular issue. The media is incredibly biased. The media is often backed by the government. Strictly speaking, they're not supposed to be, but everybody knows that the government kind of like either pays them off or it's in the media's best interest to support the government, at least.
Gotcha. What, propaganda? No.
Yeah, so the BBC are known to be extremely pro-yes. Oh, sorry, extremely pro-no.
I was going to say, that sounds not.
Which is on my side, and I should be happy with that, but I'm never happy with a biased media, right? I think it should always be independent. So, when it went during the violence, if you look at like people's videos that they upload to YouTube and Facebook, normal people, non-journalists have uploaded, you see no campaigners everywhere, wrecking stuff, beating up people, throwing paint bombs at the police and stuff. And there's a few yes voters getting beat up, and that's it. However, the media has been focusing on like the one guy in the crowd that's a yes voter being an asshole. Zoom in on him, show him on every single channel, show that the yes campaign is wrong, and it's just horrible. And
Interesting.
The thing is, since each side of the campaign, 55% of the population of Scotland. Let me look this up. Population of Scotland. So the population is 5.295 million right now in Scotland. And that was 3 years ago, to be fair, so it's probably a bit higher than that. So, if over half, let's say, so it's 5.2, let's just say 3 for easiness sake. 3 million people or so are all no voters, and 2 million or so are yes voters. So, it's a bit million or so difference. Plus a bunch of people who are like standing and indifferent and got their votes rejected because they don't know how to sign a bit of paper. Which there was 0.1% of the vote, which is a lot. That is so many people just could not put a simple X. They wrote their name or something by mistake, or a tick or something else, or wrote like words on it. Instantly makes it fail because it's computer stuff. So it just says if there's ink anywhere else, make it fail. Anyway, hello. So with that many people, that means that, 3 million people. There's always going to be some people in that group who are assholes, regardless of whether it's pro-peace, pro-war, pro-right-wing, pro-left-wing, pro-communism, pro-capitalism, whatever. There's always going to be assholes. If there's 3 million people, there's going to be a percentage of assholes, regardless of what it's supporting. And as such, there was a large number of assholes out in Glasgow that night, and it was mainly no voters. That does not mean all no voters are assholes, nor does it mean that they're not really no voters. Of course they're no voters. That's the point, right? So yes. You can have assholes in a big group that don't actually represent the group. Even if there's 1,000 people there, that's still such a small percentage of the no voters. That's 3 million. 1,000 is less than 1%. So we can't truly be represented by that. And people all over the Facebook are shouting like, "Oh, the no campaigners are assholes. No campaigners voted for this. They chose this. They wanted this."
So the problem, I was gonna say, the problem is and each side is gonna represent the thing they want to represent, and it's the same thing. We talked about how, me talking about the concert stuff. The handful of people that are asshats that want to go moshing around does not represent the entire group of people that just want to enjoy the music. No. And so it's that same kind of thing where it's just like, come on, people, don't stop it. You ruin it for everyone.
So I put it up on Facebook saying, believe it or not, voting no yesterday does not mean you were condoning the behaviour in Glasgow. It also does not mean it wouldn't have happened if the vote was the other way around. Pretty disgusting to say every no voter is to blame for a small number of twats in Glasgow.
Yes.
And I got 57 likes on that because there's people saying all over Facebook, so all the no voters were like, obviously it's not everybody. Now, I'm not saying that the no voters are all godly and the yes voters are assholes, because you know what, there's just as many assholes in the yes as there is no, and vice versa. You've seen it all over the news and stuff, it has been everywhere. And if not from real journalists, then from at least the true people coming on with their cameras and the true citizens of Scotland. So, it's been interesting to watch the independent stuff, because there's been violence, there's been protests, there's been campaigning and propaganda freaking everywhere. And the outcome was quite interesting. Now, at the statistics, it's quite interesting. Click on those as well. I'm going to pull some of those up right now. So it's basically saying that you can find out who voted what in terms of like percentages, right? So overall, 55 to 45. In men and women, 47% of men were the ones who voted for yes, and 53% voted for no. So mostly that way. There was more no voters in the women than there were in the men. In age 16 to 17, so quite young for voting, but it was opened up to them because people are saying it's their future as well, sort of thing.
Interesting.
So 71% of people 16 to 17 voted yes. Makes you wonder why Alex Salmon decided to open up, why the independence guys decided to open up to 16 to 17 year olds. Clearly it's because they knew they'd get their vote. Whether they should have got in the first place or not, that's a different matter, because it is their future, but at the same time they're very young and a bit more immature, being 16, 17. You're not a full adult yet. So it's very up in the air. And it's interesting, you can see the people who were voting SNP, 14% of them voted no. So some of the people who were voting the party for independence also didn't want independence.
Well, it's one of those things. If it's hard because if it's a party, right? Is it only that they represent independence, or are they, supporting some of their ideals? But whoa, that's kind of a big one I don't want. Because that's one of the challenge with any party system. Yes, sorry everyone for the political discussion and the non-relevant gaming news. We'll get to that after the hour, if nothing else. But is that there's no one party that will ever truly hold the ideals that you hold dear across the board. Everyone's going to have some ups and downs, and it's nothing that's ever like middle line that you really can find that's truly representative of you. I mean, that's the problem with any party system. Parties are just that, to be diverse, to be separate. And so it's a challenge you'll always run into.
So we have it's John who in the IRC saying it's because it affected 16 to 17 year olds the most. So why can't they get married, etc.? So why not vote? They can get married, etc. So why not vote? And I'd say because they can't vote for other issues, why would they vote for this one? Surely it should be the same across the board. Surely they should be able to vote for every other thing because it also affects them, right?
That's the one part that I think you have an argument for, is it should be consistent and not just a special case for it's and I'm curious about the comment you say, it's John, where you say that it affected 16 to 17 year olds the most?
Surely it affects the 12 year olds more, I'd say, because they're going to live with it even more in the future. Surely they have more years to live with this.
The reason I say this is because people that are still in those formative years where they're just about to join the market as such, it's going to affect you. But what about people that are already established, who their entire lives may be completely upended, and you may lose jobs, you may lose your mortgage, you may lose things like that are necessary to continue life because of how it could change the entire banking structure.
Point is, it affects both ages, right? And I agree, it does affect all ages, whether you're 0 or whether you're 69.
Yeah, it affects everyone.
It doesn't matter, it'll affect you. You'll also notice that a lot of the people who are elderly, let's go look at the stats again, people who are 65 plus, 73% voted no. But if you look at the 16 to 17, 71% voted yes. What's the huge difference? Some people are saying the elderly are just stuck in their ways and don't want change, and some say the young want change because they're young, right? So,
yes,
and I kind of agree with that. Constant. Of course, that's the main thing there, right? But I suppose it makes sense. So long as the elderly are to vote, so should the young.
Equally.
So I agree with it. They should have allowed to vote, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. And
no, John's just curious,
draw the line somewhere, and they should vote for all decisions. Yeah, I agree with that, John. I'd say that's fair enough. But they shouldn't just say, "Oh, let's get them in for independence," because why? Because it affects their future, unlike every other government decision.
Well, so the interesting thing that happens when you do that, when you say that, this younger voting crowd needs to be let in, is in a way that supported, and we run into this here in the U.S. with all the political things, that supported the yes vote, right? Because the majority of young people were voting yes. And so by doing that, you're in a way skewing the number and allowing a larger group of very specific voters in. In a way, it's like in the United States, if we ever said for immigration, we're going to let illegal immigrants vote on the issue, that's not going to skew things completely, would it? Because how many illegal immigrants are going to say, I want to not have us legal status? So things like that. It's just curious. So any other fallout from the overall transition that you've run into, especially where you're at now? Because I know it wasn't huge, and I know there's violence there, and you were smart to not go out in it. So good decision.
No, we were close to it. We were planning a date night, but then we realized it is going to be straight after independence. That might not be a good idea. And I don't want to keep the political discussion going too much, John, and I would like to keep talking about this, but you're saying, I don't want to sound more ageist here, but I'd put my money on saying the over 65s wouldn't have as much access to the internet, and then Pooter says the older you get, the more conservative you become. So, first of all, John's, you're probably right, they do have less access to the internet. I think that's a statistic more than anything. I'd agree with that. That doesn't mean they don't have informed decisions either. They've had more experience for one, so they've already been through independence votes in the past, by the way. They've already seen it go by. Secondly, they have more experience with governments as well. Thirdly, I would also agree with Pusser. The more conservative you become, that is a fact as well. You don't become more liberal the older you get. That's a young thing. That's why you
not necessarily. I mean,
not
it's
entirely,
the
not entirely.
trend. It's the trend, but I know what you say. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So in general it is. So again, like I said, John, so long as over 65s can vote, so should 16, 17-year-olds, because then it's a bit fair. I agree with that, but they should be able to vote on everything was my point. And yeah, always avoid the bias of the BBC, as Pusser's saying as well. One last thing, John says, rallies coming up soon from the yes side. Yep, there's going to be more coming up soon. My last question to you, what do you expect to come from the rallies? What is the single best outcome that could happen? Another referendum in the next few months? Is that what you think could possibly happen? Because I know you're a yes voter, John. I know I'm a no voter. But I'd be interested in hearing your point. Do you think that would actually happen? Because I know the government is saying not for at least another 40 years. Probably not for this generation, is what they said. So what they think is that we'll never see one in our lives again. What do you think?
Interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, why do it again after a couple months? It doesn't matter how much protest. They'll just assume it's the 45% protesting, which makes sense in my mind because it's already been voted on. If the vote was unfair, if the vote was unfair and it was skewed for whatever reason, then yes, I would agree a recount should be done, maybe in 2 weeks' time or so. But I don't think we should go back to the issue every two months. Anyway, yes, we are going hard off topic.
Well, so, we kept this dysfunctional because we knew this was going to be very not geek related, but it's a big deal for you. It's a big deal for the world, whether people realize or not. So, and it's timely, so it's all right to bring up. I mean, I talked about concert stuff because it's fun. Yes. But yeah, so you were speaking of old earlier and age differences. Anything else that's coming up recently that speaking of age?
And John says he doesn't want the rallies actually because it won't have anything good to do with it. It'll divide the country more. However, people do protest for something they believe in, and I guess I'll be joining them. But I will take it with great caution. I agree, John. I think we're not splitting up from Britain. What we're doing is splitting up Scotland. That's what's going on.
That's a fear. Yes.
Okay. So, and my final point with the whole vote is done. It is over and done with. And some people have been very bitter about it on Facebook. Some people have been screaming and unhappy. And to be honest, I'm kind of unhappy myself. Even though I voted for this, I'm kind of unhappy as well because while I was a no voter, it's not as simple as yes and no. It's never that much. It's more of a percentage thing. So I was definitely mostly against it. But the part of me was I liked some things to do with it. I was looking forward to seeing what we could do as an independent country. I was looking forward to see if it would help the economy, if it would become richer, if it would help our children, etc. If we would manage to survive with the military. It was so interesting to see what would happen, but it didn't happen. And so it's done. And it is a shame, but it's done. Right. It was my father's birthday this week.
Hey!
And as such, we went out to a nice afternoon today, Kitten, myself, and my parents. So we went to Glasgow, and we went along to the... sorry, I'm watching the RC getting distracted again. We went along to this, it was actually a gay bar, believe it or not. It didn't
you went to a gay bar? Gay bar? What?
I think we have to play that song now. I did go along to a gay bar along with the rest of the folks. And to be fair, it wasn't exactly a club or anything. It was a bar during the day, and it had family events on. So originally I booked it for Saturday, but then my parents pulled out so they couldn't make Saturday, so I had to make it for Sunday. So I had to rebook. Saturday was a mature day. Sunday was a family day. So they told me there's going to be family events on. I was like, oh, jeez, there's going to be kids everywhere. Yes, okay, whatever, we'll find out. So we go along, and we go in. It's a really, really nice-looking bar. Like, it's so well done. Everything's neat, expensive stuff everywhere. It looks really posh. And there's this curtain going to the back room. And then I felt, okay, this is a bit dodgy. secret curtain going into the back room. Hello, John with the hat. And the mask, Jesus Christ, look at that thing.
Ah, nice.
Those in the video will enjoy that. It's creepy as hell, dude. Oh my god.
Have you not seen that mask? It's American McGee's Alice, the White Rabbit mask.
That's horrific.
I'm surprised you've never seen that. Yeah,
no,
I go to cons.
So,
I've seen that everywhere.
No, I've not seen that at all. So we went along to this bar, and we went to this curtain, and I don't know what I was expecting. It seemed very quiet so far, and behind the curtain, it was bustling. There were so many people filled. It was filled with a couple kids, but mostly adults, funnily enough.
Okay.
And there was a comedian presenting, and there were several different acts. The first one was a magician. Then there was this dancer. then another dancer, then the magician back on. The comedian was in between. The comedian was hilarious. He seemed like a professional. He seemed to know what he was doing. He was very on the spot. You know, he was making up his stuff as he went, and it was very good. It was very funny, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was kind of surprised because I was like, it's a family event. For 4 people, it cost 32 quid for lunch, a drink, and all this entertainment. I was like, that's a lot. That's pretty damn high quality food and drink and like comedy and entertainment for that much money. I was really surprised. That's effectively £8 a head. And so we're sitting there watching this entertainment, and the first one was this magician. And I was like, it's a kid show. He'll probably just be like, put your fingers like this, then unfocus, and you'll see a flying sausage. You know, and then that would be it. You never heard that one before? Oh, come on.
I've not heard it presented like that. I do know what you're talking about, but I've not heard it presented like that.
Well, that's what it is. That's what it is. The fly. If you present it to kids,
it's a disconnected finger, but I don't know. I've just never heard it said like that.
Much more fun that way, isn't it? Instead of flying
I just say it. Yeah. Sorry, anyway, the way you say it, Ken, it just sounds wrong, and I wouldn't say that to a kid.
Well, fair enough. So this guy goes on. He does a couple, like, first couple things are a bit dull. It's like some card tricks, and he had these luminescent orange balls which he moved around in his hand, like 5 of them. I was trying to avoid saying the word balls there because I knew you'd laugh. And he made them disappear between his hands. It was impressive, sleight of hand kind of thing, and then that was it. But then it started getting more and more impressive until it got to the point where he had like a napkin which was like really like a meter long, and he was flapping about, then flicked it really quickly, like just 0.2 seconds flicking it, and it went solid. It turned into a cane. And I was like, that was magic. That was actually magic. Oh my god. And they had this. Then he went like this with another napkin, whoosh, turned into a candlestick, and he set it on fire. And then he clapped his hands and it disappeared. And I was like, oh my god. Not the fire, the candlestick. That wouldn't be as impressive. It was just the fire disappeared. And he picked up this chair. It had like a tablecloth on it. Sorry, it was a table with tablecloth on it.
Yep.
And he picked it up just by the side by the cloth.
Yeah.
And it started floating. And it's kind of obvious it was done. It's like a pole.
Well, no, it's just I'm entertained because one of my friends, B, has been in the magic community for years, and so in doing so, I've been to a few shows, littler ones, bigger ones, more amateur ones, all kinds of great stuff, good sleight of hand, and so I know how a lot of the tricks are performed because there's certain props that are designed specifically things. So not to take away from the experience, because it's still about their sleight of hand and their ability to execute the trick. But it's things like that. When you brought up the tablecloth thing, it's like, oh yes, that's a classic trick. The clapping, like the cane, ribbon to cane, stuff like that. The candlestick is somewhat a twist on what's a classic theme. But no, it's just fun to hear because I do know a lot about magic. Mm-hmm. Not that I talk about it much, or I'm not around it often. But so it's fun to hear that wonder because I equally still enjoy watching it being performed.
Well, my favorite one was when he started using, it wasn't pigeons, it seemed like small doves, but he just made them appear out of nowhere sort of thing. But he got like 8 out of his body. Like, I know it's not real magic, of course. So what I was more amazed by is not how he made it appear, but where the hell he stored all those pigeons,
It's still the sleight of hand, and the beautiful thing about using doves is because they're a very docile bird when you get them trained right, and so they'll allow you to kind of keep them on your body or hidden without freaking out.
But he must have had like I did, to be fair, when he walked on the stage, I did notice he had a bulge in a certain place, and I thought he was just happy to see the crowd.
I see.
But I turned, and then the bulge disappeared later, and I kind of worked out why. Because there's freaking pigeons next to his crotch, those poor things. When they came out, they were like, I've seen things. I've smelt things. It was just good. Also, John, the video wall says, seeing the slight lag, hearing Ken say flying sausages on the stream while watching him stretch his arms and wave them while on the video wall. Ideal. So that was fun, a magic show. There was a couple of dancers who did some impressive stuff. There's this one girl who came on, and she wasn't, like, no offense if she's ever listening, she wasn't particularly attractive, and she started doing a dance that seemed like it was meant to be enjoyable for men more than anything, or people who are attracted to women in general. She came in wearing something quite skimpy, and she had like a newspaper hiding half of her face, and she walked around the stage, turned around and started shaking her butt for like 10 seconds, and then the music suddenly changed from this cheesy jazz music to this fast-paced dance music, and you turn around, she's got a moustache on, and she pulls out these hula hoops from nowhere, like 8 of them, and she's whirling them all around her body and stuff, and then you realize she's not supposed to be, sexy, she's doing something skillful. So it was kind of like a joke at the start. So I was like, oh, I can appreciate this so much more now. Oh, great. I'm glad you're actually doing something that you're talented at and you're doing really well with. And that you understand your body type and you're working well with it. Like, we're now enjoying this. Before, it was like, awkward. Nobody's really enjoyed this. But then it turned into something good and it was really funny because she was in the joke, you know? So it was ideal. People should work to their strengths that way. No offense, Jesus Christ, nobody get upset. Cool. So I had a lot of fun with that today. It was definitely worth the value and had a lot of fun. So happy birthday to my father. I hope he enjoyed the day. I kept telling him, oh, I hope you're ready. We're going to be flying high today. I kept telling him all this stuff, like hinting we're going to go rock climbing or get into like a plane. And I went for tea and biscuits instead.
Nice, yeah. So you did a proper, British thing instead.
Yeah, of course. So even though it was a family day, it was really, really enjoyable. Really enjoyed it. So the final thing is I want to give a shout out to our Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com, and even if you donate $1 a month, we would be very happy. That helps go towards any of our costs for whatever we do on the page, you know, on the show and stuff, and on the station we do. That involves software costs. We need to buy SAM broadcaster. It's pretty expensive. We have running costs for the website as well, buying our DNS and the server, etc., our DNS host name, etc., covering the basics for everything, like the website name as well, annual fees for different bits of software. It's just all costs money. All costs money. So any little bit helps. Never mind our gear, you know, these microphones aren't exactly cheap either. So any little bit, just $1 a month would help so much. If you did that, that would be really cool. And we totally understand if you can't afford any more than that. $1 would be sweet, and we'd really appreciate it. Alrighty, how has your week been? You've already done your week. How's your week being geek?
Let's go ahead and transition things so we can instead talk some geek.
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
Look at me
There's
completely.
a reason I'm the second host usually.
Look at me throwing you off by going first with that, but yes. All right, so this week in geek, and I will be brief so we can get to the break and transition to some news topics. Oh, just before the show, as I was talking about for a moment there, Copy and I decided to play some League of Legends, do an ARAM, because, oddly enough, Ken, you weren't on LOL before the show.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was getting in late from friggin' the day out and stuff.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. It was just fun because Copy and I did an ARAM, and she is a great Sona player. It was hilarious to watch. Not maybe the most aggressive, but really good at supporting and keeping the team going and poking, just because essentially we played for almost a solid. I think the overall game went for, almost 40 minutes in an ARAM, like 30-something minutes. Not maybe 30-something minutes. And I think she went to like the 26-minute mark as Sona before she died. And in doing so, accumulated, as I say at the beginning of the show, 12,000 gold, which for me is, I think, the most I have ever seen someone get gold in an ARAM before dying. That was impressive. And really, she only died because the team was bitching. Because the team kind of said, you need to die to get more items. And I was thinking, actually, she's doing pretty good keeping everyone alive on her base stats. I wouldn't have minded if she'd gone through the whole game. The only reason I am happy she died and got the stronger gear is because it was really getting to the edge of like us having any kind of way of finishing before the end of the show. And she is telling me that she sent an email in about it. So with that, I will go directly to that. And a good long copy mail. So it says, Dear Mr. Wayne and Dr. Lord Reverend and Bachelor of Science, Kenneth Neil Reed II. Before the show, I played my first game of LoL in many weeks. Actually, I don't think I've played a game since moving to Hamilton, mostly because the internet wouldn't allow for it. Anyway, I played a LoL with Mr. Wayne and finally hit level 17! Not such a little potato anymore. Yay! It was a pretty spiffy game, probably because I brought the average level down to bring in mid-20 players. Thank you for that, Copy. It was fun. But near the end of the game, my Sona still hadn't died, and the team was yelling at me to drop and spend my 12,000 gold on some AP items. Not myself.
Die already, Sona, die!
My final tally was 3, 2, and 54.
Jeez.
With both deaths being intentional and strictly for shopping purposes. After the game, I bought myself the Pentakill Sona skin. Outstanding.
Oh, nice. I've got that one. It's good.
Yes, because sometimes I deserve nice things. Yes, you do, Copy. It's nice to hear you finally spending money on yourself. Anime North 2015 update. Chibi booked her flight this weekend. Hotel plans are taken care of, and most costume groups have been finalized. I got to visit Hamilton's Shiny Fabricland warehouse. It's the one that supplies most of Niagara's region. and I was completely overwhelmed by the selection of materials and colors. I touched all of the fluffy fabrics and found a faux fur that I'll eventually use to cosplay Ayla from Chrono Trigger. Ayla, I'm assuming I'm saying that right. Here's a link for those living under a rock and somehow don't know Ayla. And so I will post that into both the IRC and put it into the show notes so that people can see that. Let's see. There. Haha. Nothing else geeky going on. I've been working, sewing, buying mini copies of Gauntlet for people. So bad. Launches Tuesday. Yay. Now you just went back from the whole buying, these things for yourself and buying it for others again. Bad copy. And being disappointed in Steam for the store not completing transactions for the last 6 days. There have been some Steam shenanigans going on, but I think it's all sorted now. So I can't buy more Gauntlet for people. Good Steam. Never mind. Good Steam. My Steam wallet is full of currently unusable money. It's kind of making me rage. That's all for now. See you next Sunday until my hometown EB Games is still planning to hold a Smash Brothers tournament. And then I'll have to bus away to provide my console, game, and controllers and buy a copy of Smash Brothers 4 for whoever wins the tournament because I said I would. Again, too nice with the copy. Stores can write that off themselves. Canada gets screwed over for epic launch events, so I volunteer my time, money, and resources to help things happen up here. Much love, the original copy. You are too good to people who, well, I guess could deserve it, but still, bad copy. Alright, so we will get back to the emails. What else have I been doing? I got my new 3D printer parts in, and so hopefully I will be able to get that running. It's been going offline for over 2 weeks now, and I hate that. So hopefully I'll be able to get that back running. My 3D, or my non-3D printer, my little Artisan 730 Epson, because I have a continuous ink system on it, I guess I haven't been printing enough, but somehow the black ink got completely congealed and won't print out of the print head. And so I tried to go through and do the right thing, clean it. I cannot for the life of me figure out how to remove the print head from this damn all-in-one printer. I can remove the ink, I can push some things through it, I can kind of do other things to get to it, but I can't remove that damn print head. And I see no directions online, nothing to describe it, and it just is rocking my world for that, so I can't properly clean this thing. And so I'm kind of without printer now, to the point where things I've been like trying to print out my tickets for Riot Fest come out in this non-colored correctly because it's all black ink it's supposed to be, and so it's kind of other inks bleeding into it, and it looks terrible, and they can't scan it at the show. It's been such a mess. So mad about that. Someone, if you know how to disassemble an Epson 730, let me know. And finally, for my geek cred, so that we can eventually make this break, and depending on what you have to say, I ordered a new phone / phablet such pocket destroyer.
Did you get the iPhone? Did you get the next iPhone?
So I may very well have, on launch day, gone into an AT&T store, and
God.
While they did not have any of the model I wanted in stock, they were quite happy to sign me up and order my new iPhone 6 Plus. Which, oh boy, am I making a jump here. Because that thing is massive. And in fact, I have an article I'll bring up about it that someone else had mentioned when we get into the news section, talking about that issue with the size of the iPhone. Or maybe I didn't include that. But yeah, it's the, what is it? I don't know the exact size. It's like 5.5 inch across. And while it doesn't seem like a massive increase from previous phones, I pulled out, they had a demo version sitting in the store, so I grabbed it. And grabbed my 4S, which is even shorter and smaller than the 5s that are out now, and compared to each other, and I was like, oh god, this is almost like 2.5 of my phone. Like, if I think it's actually big enough that if I take my phone and turn it sideways, horizontally, it's like that width, but like 4 of my phone tall almost. It's massive, the size of this thing. And so while I will probably be able to fit it into my pocket, it's going to do weird things to me, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. We'll see. It's on back order. I get it sometime next month. I will show it off when it finally arrives. I'm hoping for it mostly because I like the new camera it has in there, the optical stabilization, the full 1080p screen. The big thing for me, the 128 gigs of storage, because my phone sits at about 52 gigs as it is now that I'm using, and so we'll see what happens with that. So, all right, that's the end of my geek, Ken. Yes.
Before we carry on, did you see the new thing that came with iOS 8?
That I'm currently running on my phone, but which piece of it?
iWAVE, dude. It's really cool. It's I linked the article from Apple there. So iWAVE is our latest and greatest addition to iOS 8. Wave allows your device to be charged wirelessly through microwave frequencies. Wave can be used to quickly charge the device's battery using any standard house-made microwave. How cool is that?
As the trolls go marching down the interwebs.
So Wave will automatically activate when you update to iOS 8. You can now Wave charge your device by placing it within a household microwave for a minute and a half, just 90 seconds. It's pretty cool.
So yes, coming from the Android fanboy here for mobile devices, although somehow a Mac iOS fanboy for non-mobile, so backwards. Yeah, don't do that, everybody. He's trying to get you to troll and destroy your phone. Show X does not recommend you take the advice of internet trolls. Do not microwave your phone. All right, as we continue on.
I highly recommend it.
Show X does not. Ken, on the other hand, if you'd like to send your hate mail to you, you can send your hate mail to theworldstrikesback@gmail.com. Anyhow, what have you been doing geeky this week?
Just give out my personal email on air. That's cool, dude. That's cool.
Oh, please. That was your old show email. Shush.
I know. All right. This week in geek. Oh, jeez. I've been up to a good few things. So my first thing, has anybody seen the new, oh crap, what's the game called? So first of all, we played Five Nights at Freddy's, me and Kitten this week.
Nice.
Oh man. So originally I played the first level and it wasn't too bad, so I sort of showed her how it's done, right? And then I said, okay, now it's your turn. And she sat down for approximately 3 minutes into the game, which is, by the way, about 2 seconds in real life. And she was like, nope, can't do it, nope, and noped out of the room. And came back shortly after. And so I had to play it again, so I sat and I did the level, and it was just like, oh my god, and I got close to the end, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna win the night anyway, so how about I just leave it, and leave all the doors open, and just let them get me and see what happens. So I leave all the doors open. So anybody who doesn't know the premise of Five Nights at Freddy's, it's an indie game, an indie horror game. Idea being, there's this restaurant called Freddy's, and there's these three or four animatronic robots which are used to entertain the kids during the day. But at nighttime, they've recently started walking around and running strange protocols, such as if they see any humans out of their furry suits, they'll push them into one. The nearest one, of course, being themselves, and their mouths, now being animatronic, don't actually fit them in, and so it splices the humans open while they basically, destroy them as they go in. So you don't want to get caught. So you start your job, and you've got access to these cameras and to 2 doors. The ones to your security room. Now the cameras and the doors all cost battery to use, power, loads and loads of power. You've only got a little bit left because of corporate cuts, So you have to watch the cameras sporadically. And whenever you see anything come closer to you, you gotta close the door. But only for so long, because keeping the door closed also costs you lots of power, of course.
Sounds like a horribly designed store that it costs power to just hold the door shut.
Ah, yeah.
You think you have a plug you could use or something. Battery power.
I know.
Anyways.
I know. But anyway, so you're playing this, and they just stay still for the first 3 hours of the first night, because easy mode. And then you're glancing around the other rooms, or they're just trying to save battery but not being the camera, and you flash back to the room, and one of them's missing. And you're like, where did you go? And you start running around all the different cameras. And then you finally see one sitting in the back of a room in the dark, and you just see a glimmer of his face standing there doing nothing. You're like, oh, okay, he's there. Okay, okay, it's okay. That's quite far away from me. You flick back to the other room, and another one's moved, and you're like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. And then you're like, oh shit, where is it? You're like, should I close my door? You go out to your control room, and then there's a thing in your door looking at you going, it's a big smiley face. And you're just like, oh my god, shut the door. And so me and Ken are playing this, and she's having a panic attack. I'm having, I'll say, a mini panic attack. I was still crapping myself. But she is more affected than me in these things. And so eventually I left it to just try and kill us. And so I had the doors shut, and I actually thought it was okay. And then I just turned the camera slightly, and this face just eats me. Just appears, goes, sort of, ha ha ha, and just goes towards you. And both me and her screamed. I was just like, apparently my choice curse word is, apologies in advance for swearing on air, is, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit! That's what I say whenever I'm scared, it turns out. Now we also played another demo, but I'll get to it after the break. We can get to that then.
Okay.
Go figure out the name of it anyway. So, well, this was to be continued. More silly, scary things after.
So with that, we'll take a break, and then we will come back and listen to more of what Ken's been doing for his geek cred. So during this break, you're going to be listening to, not quite, UK solidarity song, but one of those gaming songs we love, which was a theme song from a show out in Sweden. As well as we're going to be listening to our good friend of the show, Molly Lewis, with her song, I Pity the Fool. Everybody go check her out, buy her albums, she's amazing. So with that, you are listening to Show X, and we'll be right back.
Send in your emails to showx@vtwproductions.com.
Nu tänker jag bli allra bäst och bygga upp ett lag. Jag ska söka och fånga flest och träna dem var dag. Jag ska resa från stad till stad efter Pokémon. Då får jag se fast grav för grav var kraften kommer från. Pokémon måste fånga dig. Det är du och jag. Tillsammans blir vi ett lag. Pokémon, åh min bästa vän. Vi räddar världen om igen. Pokémon måste fånga dig. Helt okej. Vi vet hur man klarar sig. Du lär mig och jag lär dig. Pokémon måste fånga dig. Jag ska fånga fler. Pokémon.
I used to get upset over giant paper cuts and math equations. Nothing stuck in my craw more than dogfights and shopping malls and tax evasion and sexist tabloid culture and Brangelina and paparazzi and Proposition 8 and discrimination and neo-Nazis. But anymore these things don't seem to bother me. Ever since I started hanging out with Mr. T, he told me to stay out of drugs and drink my milk and treat my mother right. And I pity the fool who disagrees. I disliked Gwen Stefani for her weird-ass voice and that stupid hair of hers. And it felt like J.K. Rowling conspired to kill off all my favorite characters. I disliked all the people I had to ride with on the commuter bus. If Nancy Grace and I were to meet, I would have kicked her in the uterus. But my attitude has had a total overhaul since Mr. T told me how to forgive them all. He said, let the naysayers nay, I don't care what they say. It's all jibber jabber anyway, and I pity the fool who cannot rhyme. He said I must go on, gotta help more kids and gotta spread my knowledge. I said, T, please don't go. He said, hold it, kid. You're old and you're in college. He said, you know all that I know. I can't teach you nothing, I swear it's true. Go out and live your life because there's so much goodness in the world for you. You go watch as Bob Ross paints himself some happy trees. And those happy cows on TV make you happy cheese. And then he dug in his spurs and rode into the sky on that thing from the never-ending story. And I pity the fool who mess with T.
What you talking about, fool? I don't remember none of that.
This show is brought to you in part by Audible. Audible.com is the leading provider of premium digital spoken audio information and entertainment on the internet. With over 85,000 programs from more than 1,000 content providers, including leading audiobook publishers, broadcasters, entertainers, magazine and newspaper publishers, and business information providers. Audible customers can also have their Audible content wirelessly delivered to their smart mobile devices daily, even while sleeping, taking the computer out of the equation. To find out more, visit vtwproductions.com and click on the audible.com advertisement on the left-hand side, or visit audiblepodcast.com/VTW New customers in the United States and Canada will receive a free audiobook download when they sign up via that link. audiblepodcast.com/VTW Productions.
You're listening to Show X on VTWProductions.com.
Oh, look at that. Ken playing with his dolls. Anyhow, yes.
At least mine aren't ponies.
What were you doing, man? Having them make out there, though. Really? Really?
Well, sorry, but the old one loves the newer one, and the newer one is so lonely, so they had no choice but to become one. It's just...
yeah. Ew. Anyhow, back to geekness, I'm assuming there, Ken? Yeah.
or something like that, yes. So, I was discussing about scary horror things we did this week. So, the next thing after that was yesterday, I was telling Kitten there's this demo out for the new Silent Hills game, available for free on the PlayStation Network. Like a playable demo. It's just a quick teaser, but it's pretty scary. So she was like, it can't be that bad. And okay, we sat down and started watching it. And first of all, the graphics, even though it's on PlayStation and a console, oh my god, they are so pretty. Please check that out. Just for that alone, you will also probably shit your pants. But otherwise, it's really fun to watch. So pretty. So you start from this blank concrete room, walls and floor and roof. And you just see a cockroach moving, and then you hear a door slam, and you realize that your door slammed to that room, and you're like, oh, what's going on? Why am I here? Is this a prelude to the game? What's happening? And so you stand up, and you slowly look around, and you're like, oh, I'll inspect the room, whatever I want to do. Okay, let's try the door. You walk out into this corridor. Now, the shape of it's kind of like a right angle, right? So you go forward, and there's a sharp 90 degrees turn, then it goes all the way down to the end where there's another door and the exit to the outside. However, all the doors are locked, and there's also a room to the bathroom. So 3 rooms, one going outside, one to the bathroom, one down the stairs. Okay? All in this corridor. So you go along, you're kind of checking out, that you see the times 23:59, so just before midnight, and you see all these, it's like a house is kind of been trashed a little bit. There's lots of pills everywhere, half-eaten chocolate bars, and painting hanging on the wall all askew, and paper everywhere and stuff. Just kind of a dirty house. And you're like, okay, whatever.
So it's just a frat house.
No, it looks more like a family house with all the pictures and stuff that's been wrecked.
Okay.
And on the radio, you hear that there's been like a murder or something some years ago in this house. This father killed his wife, and by shooting her in the stomach, even though she was pregnant. And then he shot his son. His 6-year-old daughter had the smarts to hide in the bathroom for a little while. But eventually convinced her it was a game and that she had to come out, and then he shot her too. Himself. And that was kind of the premise of the very start. So you're kind of creeped out by that story as it is, because it's quite brutal. And you're walking through and you're like, oh, that's pretty creepy. And there's some atmospheric noise. There's nothing crazy, but you know it's a Silent Hills game, and it's so realistic, and the lights are just not dark, but dim enough that you're kind of freaked out. So you walk through and nothing happens. The next time you go through the end of that door, and you exit, and you go out, and the door closes behind you, and you realize you're at the start again. You're like, what? I'm at the start of the corridor I just left. What happened? And you go through and you notice very slight differences. And you get to the very end of it again, and you can't go through it. You don't know what's going on. So you're like, okay. Oh, no, I'm going to turn around. It's going to be scary. I'm going to turn around. It's going to be scary. Oh, no. You turn around and there's nothing. So walking back to where you came from, and then you hear a banging. And you're like, oh, no. I'm going to die. And they turn around and then you realize that you can go back the way that you're supposed to go in the first place, and it's open now. So you do that quickly. You're like, oh crap, escape. And it starts again. This happens about 6 times. Each time is something slightly different. And eventually the bathroom door is slightly open. It opens while you're walking past it. And you're like, oh, just end it. And you can't do anything about it. You don't know what to do. You're walking about, nothing happens. And then you try the bathroom, you go towards it, look in, and you see this figure just appear from the darkness and grasp towards you like a zombie looking like things. And you walk back and you're like, oh my god. And you go through the corridor and it happens again. And then this time, all the lights are off apart from one at the start when you're walking down. So you're walking into darkness. And then you look towards the end of the corridor and you see a light turn on. And it shows a silhouette of this very tall, slim woman hung over one shoulder higher like this. You don't see any features. You just see the dark silhouette, and you realize there's nowhere else to go but towards her. So you walk towards her, and the light behind her goes out, so you're walking into complete darkness. And at this point, of course, you are just like, I have to keep walking, or there's nothing else I can do. And it's not fine, there's nothing there. Nothing's there. Just a couple more cockroaches, that's it. Go through the door again, and you're like, oh, why? Just kill me. And this is where it gets really creepy, right? So you walk into the corridor again, and there's a toilet door, and it's open this time. So you walk in, and you hear this baby crying, and it's pure darkness. You hear this baby crying, and you're like, oh my god, that is so creepy. It's like, Mama! And you're just sitting there like, oh my god, this is so freaky. And a light flickers on. And okay, this is where it's actually gross as well. This is kind of an awkward topic. So if you are at all scared of dead babies, stop listening for the next 2 minutes.
You're silly.
And there's this fetus, a crying, bloody fetus in the freaking sink, and you're like, the door's locked. What do I do? What do I do? Oh my god, it's crying. It's looking at me. It's crying. Oh my god, it's there. Oh my god. Oh my god. And you walk out, and then it's gone, and it's dark again. You have to go through again once more. And the last time you go through, you think all the doors are locked, and you're trying for like 2 minutes. Like, how do I get out of there this time? And you start getting like a little bit desensitized. You're just like, I don't know what to do. That's just kind of getting annoying. And eventually, at one point, you just turn around and there's a face, and you just start getting eaten. And that's it. The whole thing.
That's the demo?
Oh, now, while playing it, me and Kitten, I was sitting here like, sweating, you know? I was like, I can do it. It's okay. I'm a guy. It's fine. I'm strong. I can do it. I can beat this bitch up. No problem. And she slowly goes back and back further away from the computer until she's out the room, peering around the door, saying, what happened? It gets to that stage, and again, when I got eaten at the end, I stood up, walked away. Nope. Oh, so scary. So play that demo. It's free. PlayStation Network. Check out.
So, Ken, you're definitely going to be streaming every time you play scary games, right? Especially coming up on Halloween and such, because people love to see those kind of reactions, and it helps them not have to play it themselves.
Yeah, so, that's why we watched the review. That's why we watched that instead.
You should
we didn't
do
even
that.
play it, but we just watched it. It was still so scary, so scary.
That's
Highly
hilarious.
recommend. Oh man.
No, that's
great.
great. Oh my god, that's great.
So back onto actual gaming and geek cred. So I played some LoL. I don't know if you guys know, but I was in my qualifying ranked last week, and I managed to fail it because I was playing Sona the whole time, and I know it's my own fault in a way. So I was doing really well with Sona. I won 1 out of my 3 qualifying rank. I need 2 to win, to pass, and I failed the next one because of the team sucking effectively. I was doing good as Sona. I was being aggressive, but the ADC was just standing back and doing nothing, and I was like, come on!
Can't carry a support.
Whenever we got kills, it was because of me, and obviously that's not good enough. So I was getting kills and the ADC wasn't, and we eventually failed because the whole team was terrible, shouting at each other and just no teamwork, and everybody just calling out the team like terrible and shit and stuff.
Fun.
Oh, come on. So fine, whatever. These kind of games happen. And the last one, this one's my fault, not the last one. This one is my fault. Support was taken straight away. Rarely, like a rare thing happened. The support was taken straight away, and I was like, oh damn. Well, I'm a good ADC. I'll go ADC. Then somebody else was like, oh, I have picked priority. I'm going ADC. I was like, okay. And I was like, jungle. And they're like, no, I've taken already. I was like, okay, top. And they're like, nope. And they're like, okay, so just mid left. I was like, I'll play my one good mid because I've got 1 good position and everything. I played Ryze. And they're like, you can't go Ryze. The enemy have got what's his name? Xerath. He's extremely high range. He's gonna F you up. And I was like, well, it's this or nothing, guys. You took every single other position that I can play well with. And I can't play anything but Ryze. Like, I understand I should have more than one each lane, but this is my like my 5th backup. Mid is my least favorite one. It's so unlikely this would happen. They kept saying, oh, you're terrible, you're terrible. So I started playing. I died in the first like 5 minutes, twice in the first 10 minutes, but only twice. The rest of the team was feeding, and I got blamed the whole way through, even though I ended up with like 5-4. And it was just like, so we lost, and I just felt so bad. Because, you know, it's bad enough playing a LoL and losing, but when you're in your qualifying, your final ranked match, and you just have the worst luck, and then you get just outplayed, and your counter plays against you, and you just nothing you can do about it. It was just the most depressing thing. So I'm happy to report that I'm back into my qualifying round as of last night. Me and Graham had an amazing game. I played Sona, he played jungle, and we just had so much synergy. I hate that word. We had so much synergy. I'd just be like, okay, dude, you're coming down here. Let's gank. Okay, let's gank. Yeah. Okay, I'm ready. Slow, stun, boom, boom, boom. And just like triple kill there and then. What? and we just kicked ass. And it was just, and I finally got back up to qualifying, just in one match. Just we did so well. It's just so satisfying that. And even better, we thought we were going to lose because we were doing terrible the first half. Just did so well at the end. It's just we won it back, and we just won by the skin in our teeth, and it was just epic. Man, that's why I play LOL. Even though it's so freaking depressing.
That's why I don't play LOL. At least not ranked games.
That's the thing. It's so incredibly depressing when you lose, but when you win, oh, that high you get, you're just like, I am the king of the world. It just feels so good. You're just a winner. You're the winner. So close, but your skill, your I don't know, your endurance paid out, and you just won. It's so good, and it's just the best feeling. So it's so worth it for that, even though you're so sad most of the time for losing most of the time.
I was gonna say, I'm glad you had a positive experience, and now hopefully we'll see how you go for it. We'll listen back to see how you do your next qualifications, and see if the same roller coaster happens where I almost qualified and failed, but then I started playing LOL again, and I got to qualifying again, and we'll see if you do this bounce the entire time you play.
I might just do that. So finally, other than well, not finally, but the other two games I've been playing is WoW. Me and Graham also played a little bit of WoW. We played some dungeons, and he's starting to get the grip of it a bit more. But for some reason, even though I keep saying to him, dude, when you're tanking a dungeon and I'm healing, if you don't tank, my healing job becomes really difficult. Becomes really tough.
Healing aggro.
So he's really being into his mining. He's like, dude, I need to get my mining up and my blacksmithing. And I'm like, well, yeah, but just do the mining after the team fight. So what he does is he engages, doesn't get any aggro, leaves it to attack me and everybody else. Since I'm healing, I get the most aggro. I'm healing myself constantly, trying to survive. He's off mining. The team's raging. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop mining! I mean, WoW is easy if you follow the rules, but if you don't, oh my god, it's tough.
So he was completely trolling the team. Hey, I'm tank. Yeah. Ooh, look, a shiny rock. Let's go over there.
So I'm raging, the rest of the team's raging, Graham's laughing.
Yeah.
And I managed to pull us through most of it because I'm I've got some experience with WoW at least, so I know what I'm doing. But man, without a tank, dungeons can get a bit tough. Oh man. So we did that, and that was fun. I taught him some pet battle and gave him a few hundred gold to get into some things. Oh, that guy. He is tough to play with sometimes. I know he would be a good player if he wanted to be, but he thoroughly enjoys being a bad player more.
we all have those friends. The ones that's like, dude, if you just played the game, we'd be alright, but what are you doing?
Yep. He enjoys it so much, though, so that was enjoyable in its own way. I know never to trust him with too much, though. I'll never make him a leader of my guild and have access to the guild back. I know it'd all be sold in minutes.
Yeah, it would all be in his pocket. New shiny armor.
Exactly.
That's
so
funny.
The Sims 4, I picked up.
I thought you weren't going to do this, Ken. I thought you said that as long as you could keep Kitten from knowing that The Sims 4 even existed, you would be safe.
But I got a discount.
Oh?
So it's quite alright that I have it. It's a bit buggy for me. It crashes once in a while, maybe once every 45 minutes or so. So when we play, we just gotta save all the time. But the thing is, she doesn't want to play it. She's like, but it's got no expansions, so it's shit. And I'm like, no. Do you know what an expansion is? Expansions come later. She's like, no, it's shit. Sims 3's better. It's got expansions. I'm like, but you need to support it for it to be able to get expansions. I mean, that's how the cycle works. That's how this thing goes. So you need to. So she's just playing The Sims 3. So I got her The Sims 3 with all the expansion packs, every single one. Do you know how long that took to install? Never mind downloading the 80 gig. Downloading was easy.
Oh, come on. I was going to say, downloading's fast with your massive connection. What are you talking about?
Yeah, downloading was no problem. It took a couple hours, actually, which is usually, it was quite slow for normal downloads, but 80 gig, it's pretty big. Had to delete all my Steam games as well to make it fit. Oh, I did it! And, so I installed all. That took a good few hours. It broke, so I had to restart and try that again. After a few hours, it finally worked. So she'll be playing that, not now, but when I am at work and no other time. Because I'm not giving up my PC for my own free time, which is there's very little of. Oh, but it's finally installed, so she's happy. I made her happy, and that's good.
Nice.
It's all good. And Kitten made some awesome cupcakes this week as well, so she's awesome as well. As I saw you wanted them.
Yeah, no, they looked quite marvelous, so I did see the pictures you were teasing everyone with.
Oh, dude, they're so good. I had one just before the show. They're so filling. It's like a mini cake. It's not even like a cupcake. It's like a mini cake. But yeah, that's been my entire week. The Sims 4 is also fun, by the way. I'm actually quite enjoying myself. Even though it crashes all the time and it is missing a lot more stuff, I agree with Kitten with the expansion packs. They have more in The Sims 3, of course. There's more things to do. There's no swimming pools or toddlers, but I hate children in The Sims, and I don't care for swimming pools. So, you know, I'm not missing out on much. I just care about the career progression and maxing, like, the utility of things rather than making it look nice. Because Kitten plays it for building and stuff and making it look nice. I play to make them do well in life, and that's it. So that's been my week in Geek. That is
very good.
all.
Let's say long week in Geek. We obviously have been doing a lot of things for ourselves this week. Well, let's find out what all of you have been doing. So going back to the emails, I'm going to read one here that says Attack of the Drones. It says, Dear Crew X, Riotus here with this week in Geek's Cred. Since my phone is such a piece of garbage that even the updates can't install due to lack of internal storage, I set aside some money and bought a drone. Not quite sure why, but I'm now the owner of a Hubsan X4 drone. After fiddling around with the calibration a bit and realizing that I'm not yet ready to fly it indoors, I took it with me for my family grape harvest where I had a ton of space to fly around. It took a bit of practice, but I'm now more or less able to fly it around without crashing it into a tree. And let's see, another, or having to ask neighbors to give it back. Word of advice, however, the battery doesn't last very long. Bringing an additional battery or buying one could be a good idea. Charging one while flying the other. All in all, this thing is totally useless, but fun. That from Riotus. P.S. Arcade's released. The queues are several hours long. Ouch. Ken, another email. Sir.
Jeez. Yes. Okay. So this one is from Cupcheck. There was an incident that made me question the games I play in real life. There was a 15-year-old, and that number was very important, at the shop during a Magic the Gathering pre-release. And how the hell this kid was able to stay up till 4 in the morning is beyond me. I was running low on my juice and my vape tank, so I bummed a smoke and responded with, if anyone needs me, I'm going to go kill myself. Trying to calm myself down because the kid was super annoying. His response was, as long as the bullet goes through and through. I then said something to him that I don't feel like I should repeat to anyone. If a damn kid would tilt me that bad, is it even worth it anymore? To be fair, that's not the end of the world, dude. It's a kid. You know, it's a freaking kid, man.
It's one of those things that, you know, I have had my moments of shame where I've had a kid be able to pull a reaction out of me that I really am not proud of. So don't feel terrible, Cup. I mean, it happens, especially when you're up beyond your bedtime, essentially, or when you be comfortable and, you know, you're kind of at your last rope and you've been concentrating on something that you're not doing as well as you'd like it to into it. You get to those little threads and it's really easy for someone to set you off. But again, that unfortunately for me, because I don't react well to it, is a part of gaming in a lot of ways, or just psyching a person out. And so he got you. Sucks, but it happens.
Everybody, definitely. We've got one last email, I believe.
Well, we have another one from Cupcheck that I don't think we had read before.
Okay.
Yeah, it said, Hey dudes, first time emailing you guys after hearing the comment about how vaping isn't nerdy. And Wayne thinks every vapor is a douche. No, I think every smoker is a douche. I think vapors who feel as though if you because you're vaping, you can now vape anywhere, including in my house or in public right next to me, is a douche. Yes. It says, as I can't comment about the second one, here's a link I want you to see. All right, so I'm opening up this link. So for his geek vaping comment, essentially it's a Game Boy Color that has a vape attached to it, it looks like. And I don't know if that's so that you can vape directly off of it or how that works, but interesting.
Pretty cool, though. That is cool.
Let's see, and I will post that for people if you want to see that. So throw this one in here, and I'll throw that into links. How the hell can that not be nerdy? A working Game Boy Color with the ability to quit smoking. Cure one addiction by assisting in the gaming addiction you might have. Anyway, I thought it might be cool to pass along to you guys next game night. That coming from Cupcheck. All right, sir, last email for you.
Sure thing. First, I saw the news that Peter Sunday, founder of the Pirate Bay and currently in jail for copyright infringement, was to attend his father's funeral and carry the coffin while in handcuffs. That made me sad. Then I saw an update from his brother that not only had Peter Sunday not been wearing handcuffs, the two guards accompanying him were also being really discreet during the whole thing. That made me really happy, and I totally agree with that. I should know the last part, so that's good news. I had to panically make an axe sheath for Mr. Pusser. This rarity, Mr. Pusser. I never hear of this man. We must
I know, it's
see
one of
him,
those
I
ghosts
say.
you see flittering around in the background, much like copies of Jolly, that we catch glimpses of or see that they exist, but then maybe are they real?
Or just our imagination. He had to use it for Boy Scout camp this weekend, the actually is, and I had completely forgotten all about it for 2 months. So, Tuesday, I started at 11 a.m., and it was 7:15 p.m. And at 7:50 p.m. I tightened the last knot and finished the stitches. It was left drying overnight. You soaked the leather to shape it. And on Thursday, I was given a healthy dose of leather balm, and it was ready to be packed on Thursday night. Friday evening, the camp began. And on topic of crafting, LARP is next weekend. I have made a belly shield, a sturdy leather cover that I put on my dress in order to protect the respawn from accidentally buffer swords. It is an old chest piece with some modifications, as may or may not be shown in the cam next week. That's pretty much it. Been playing a few rounds of Hearthstone, but I just can't seem to figure out how to play Druid. Logged into Battle.net a couple times, played some Green TD, nice. Hero Line Wars, oh that's so cool. A bit of Legion TD and Elemental TD. Dude, that's awesome. And Illidan is still kicking my ass in the Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne chapter, A Symphony of Forest and Flame, the battle for the Frozen Throne. Damn those Blood Elves and their flying Bloodhawks, aka Ivy Crusader, stop killing me, times 27. Exclamation mark, times 27. Over and out. Pusser. P.S. Ken, congrats on not joining the gang. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone, for emailing in and letting us know about your geek cred. We very much appreciate it every week.
Definitely.
And with that, it is a good time for us to transition yet again, and this time talking about news and what's been going on in the geek and gaming world. So with that, we'll jump over here, and we will do with a little bit of
Technology, news, and more today on the Geekoscope.
Alright, so today on the Geekoscope, what do we have for you? An article I would like to bring up that I just caught recently, and I found very interesting, at least for me, as I like to keep everybody informed about all things VR. And actually, I might be stealing something from you as well, Ken. Oh no, slightly different one. No, so this one is, we basically just had from Oculus, the primary developers out there doing VR. They had their new, essentially their kind of conference, talking about what they've been up to. And so with it, it's the Oculus Connect 2014. There were a couple announcements that came out of this, including things talking about software inclusion, as they're partnered with Unity. And so now anyone that uses the Unity building development tool or the Unity engine, you'll get a free access and upgrade for Oculus so that you can plug in directly to it. So hopefully we'll see a lot more Unity games out with support for Oculus. Another piece is the Unreal 4 engine in VR. It basically says Unreal 4 continues to be the best engine for virtual reality development. Epic has dedicated huge resources to optimizing UE4 for the Rift and is making it incredibly easy to build all-inspiring VR experiences. And it says that during their announcement, almost everything they'd shown was built on the Unreal Engine, everything that they demoed. And they put it together in a brand new experience called Shadowrun, which is an interesting concept. There's been some discussion about this demo that recently came out. All of this centered around the big announcement, which is the Crescent Bay prototype. So everyone should know about the original Oculus Rift Developers Kit, which I have and I've shown off and talked to people about, as well as the Developer Kit 2 that has the IR lights on it that a camera can watch and allows you much better flexibility of motion and kind of seeing if you move your head up, down, left, right, not just turning it, to make the experience much more interesting. Well, those are now available for people to start downloading and ordering their own Crescent or their own Developer Kit 2s. Well, at this 2014 event, they just announced the new Crescent Bay prototype. So, Crescent Bay is the latest prototype headset on the path to the consumer version of the Rift. Crescent Bay features a new display technology, 360-degree head tracking, expanded positional tracking volume, dramatically improved weight and ergonomics, and high-quality integrated audio. These enhancements allow for a level of presence that is impossible to achieve with the Developer Kit 2, and at the Connect, people were able to try it out. And there's no video yet of either the demos or people actually using the kit, just pictures that Oculus VR has put out themselves. But in reading some of the experiences people have had with it, they talked about how immersive this new kit is. They've talked about it's a lot lighter and easier to wear, that it sits more comfortably on the bridge of the nose, so these little issues we've had with the original and secondary developers kit, and that now that they're including, now granted the audio they show on the dev kit looks like old 80s Walkman type headphones, just these little things that come down, but that they're incorporating positional audio directly into the experience, so it knows now that it's tracking your head where it can put audio at all times, and they did it in a very lightweight format. In order to support the 360-degree tracking on the head, they've added IR lights to the back plate of the overall Oculus, so that it now when you turn your head all the way around, there's lights for it to focus on as well, so it still knows what direction you're facing. As well as they've lightened the entire kit, so it's a much easier to wear type of experience.
Makes sense.
Everyone that went in and showed it, they saw that it's a higher resolution screen. They've actually changed the lenses they're using from being circular to being some asymmetric ones that give you a more horizontal view like people are used to seeing. And so it actually expands and opens up your peripherals even further. And so with that, the faster refresh and the new higher resolution screen that is even higher resolution that's in the developer kit too, or in the Samsung version that's being made, this one has truly impressed people. And there's discussion about whether this is going to be that last bridging one before the consumer version, because they've still talked that they want to sell the Oculus for less than $400. In fact, they're talking more in the range of under $300 for the kit, which would be amazing. That's now down to the price of a monitor. And they've shown where this newer high-resolution, faster response version they're running on that's lighter can be worn basically all day. And people talked about the demos they showed where there's a lot of high-tech looking like Tron-like experiences where you're in a world that looked very digitized. But for the first time, they had a sense of things truly being that depth perception being even further enhanced, where there are examples where they were standing in this area and there was a little phone cord looking like spiral thing hanging slightly in front of them that was far enough away that they caught the position of how far it was away from them, but the resolution was high enough that they were able to see the sharp edges of this little spiraling cord. Where in the past that would have been a muddy mess, and on mine you wouldn't even be able to see the spiral. It would just be like this line sitting there. And so they talked about that being a huge improvement, as well as with the positional tracking being as much better as it is. They're standing on several instances where they're on the edge of a building looking down, and they felt this vertigo almost of the size of like how high up they were on in this virtual skyscraper looking down into this abyss kind of thing. And it kind of took their breath away. And there's one specific demo where they see this, and because it kind of jumped them around between experiences. And this one caught them where they look down and all of a sudden they're like almost holding on to the edge of this thing, where a guy looks back over his shoulder to grab a bar behind him, but of course it's virtual, so there's no bar, and so his hand goes right through it and he kind of freaks out and then looks behind him, and there's a big picture of the president CEO of the Oculus VR like standing there looking over with this cheesy grin on his face, kind of like, yep, gotcha, in the demo and such. So new news, it just came out, very excited for it, because it's great to see that this is a company that's pushing harder and harder to keep innovating, so that by the time we get consumer VR, it may just be amazing. It may be on that edge of what I want to see from things like Ready Player One, where they talk about what a VR experience could be. And I mean, I've got a taste of it. This sounds awesome. So, cool with that. Ken, what do you have for us?
I have far too many articles, sir, and that is pretty interesting. I do love the idea of VR. And admittedly, I've never actually tried it. I assume I'll be fine with motion sickness, because I don't really usually get that. But who knows, I guess we'll find out. So, first of all, I would like to... which one should I go for first? Oh, so many. I think I'm going to go for a couple of little ones that I don't have articles attached. I'm always kind of wary these days with all the corruption in the games journalism industry now.
I know. After Gamersgate, I'm paying more attention to where I get my articles.
I don't like giving them the views, so I make sure to have ad block up at least, Anyway, so Civ 5. I personally noticed Civ 5 has a lot more mods to do with the Scottish race that are popular in the past 2 weeks. Don't know if anyone else noticed that. Pretty funny though. I found this with a few games actually. Mods on the Steam Workshop and the likes. If you look at the popular in the past week, Scottish independence ones are pretty damn high. So that's funny. Other minor news. League of Legends have finally released Azir. He's quite an interesting champion. There's been a few bugs with him. For example, if you check out the fact that he can make enemy champions trampoline by mistake. So what he's supposed to have is a pushback effect. And what he does is occasionally, if it's done in the right circumstances, wherever they are, is they just bounce up and down in the same position like 3 or 4 times for no reason. Which is pretty funny to watch, obviously. And I did just make this hand signature on online. Yes, I did.
Well, no, you did that wrong. I mean, it was accurate for you to be more like...
I'm in the wrong window. Yeah, that would be. Yep, you're right. Also, there's new Azir and Sivir cinematic, which is pretty cool. I'd go check that out. It's just a good 2 minutes that you will enjoy of your life. Also, check out the League of Legends Imagine Dragons soundtrack. They've released a little song that goes along with the music video. Check that out as well, to do with League of Legends and the tournaments and the likes and players. Kind of Dragon Ball Z-esque in my opinion. That makes me like it even more. And I never really liked Imagine Dragons, but that's awesome. check out that song and the music video. Definitely worth looking at. Right, sorry for the 3 minor things. Okay.
All right.
Now my main one. World of Warcraft names are finally being reclaimed in terms of inactive usernames. So there's always been a problem with games in the past where somebody logs on, gets a cool name that's like maybe just 2 letters, like DI or DY or something, you know, something that could, or even something like John, you know, just a normal name which could be in high demand by all the Johns out there, all the millions of Johns out there. And so it's not very fair that somebody grabs that with a level 1 character that never plays it, but has it there and it's theirs now. So it's good that they occasionally do reclaims, in my opinion. So World of Warcraft and Blizzard are now reclaiming inactive names of World of Warcraft ahead of the launch of the next expansion. The Warlords of Draenor pre-patch will take back the names of any characters that haven't logged into the game since November 13th, 2008. So, you know, 6 years ago. If you haven't played it in 6 years and not played that one character, yeah, you shouldn't be having I agree.
Wait, I might finally lose my character that's been completely dormant for the last, God, I don't know how long.
I assume that you still get to keep the character, but you just get to rename it, I suppose. It says anyone wishing to preserve their name is advised to log in at the earliest opportunity to prevent it being lost. There is no set release date for the pre-patch as of yet. And it goes on to say the Warlords of Draenor is the long-running MMO's 5th expansion, and they say it looks quite fun. Okay, whatever. So if you want to keep your name and you're not currently subscribed, it'll cost you $15 to log in and get it. That's what they're saying. You need to just pay for a month to log in. Hey, fair enough. If you're not using it, you've not used it for 6 years.
Yeah.
Actually,
that could be a good thing.
Using it?
That could be a good thing. I wonder if I could just like purge the account completely and then I'd never be able to go back.
You probably
that
still
could be
will.
like even better safety net. I'd have no desire to ever play again.
Could you really delete them though? Could you really go delete all your old characters? Really?
I only have like 2, maybe 3.
I couldn't do it. I could never do that. It's just part of me. Why would I delete it? That's who I am.
If it's not going to be named the same, then it's not really me anymore. It's a facade.
Right. What is your article?
Sorry, I always have fun trolling on WoW. So yes,
I've noticed.
An article I have for those in our community that aren't as well off as others, but still love to game. Article coming in. Let's see, I always get from News 360, so it's less likely to be a tainted article. This one comes originally from CNET. And what this one talks about is the new Eraser X315 from Lenovo. The idea being, it says that gaming desktops are typically the territory of high-end PC gamers who like to design custom systems through the exhaustive configurations offered by companies such as Origin PC and Alienware. But systems such as those include the unique new Alienware 51 reboot can cost thousands of dollars. Lenovo believes there is room for a more budget-minded gaming desktop, especially as many gamers are only looking to play mainstream games at 1920 by 1080 resolutions and don't need liquid cooling systems or multiple GPU setups that most enthusiast PC gamers insist on, nor do they need the newest high-end Haswell E processors. The oddly spelled Eraser X315 takes an existing system, the mid-priced Eraser gaming desktop, and configures it with AMD processor and graphics and brings the starting price down to $600. That's US. Worldwide pricing hasn't been announced yet, but if you converted it right, it'd be about £360 or 650 Australian. The Eraser will be containing up to a 3.7 GHz AMD A10-7850K CPU, a Radeon R9 260 GPU, and 2 terabytes worth of storage, although the starting configuration will be somewhat less ambitious. The look is big and bulky with a bit of Alienware lit-up vibe, and Lenovo describes the design as follows. The newly designed chassis features front LED lighting and a futuristic profile that mimics the smooth lines of a knight's armor. Interesting. Anyhow, the whole point of this being that you can now hopefully be able to buy a true gaming PC from a top company like Lenovo for a very reasonable price. So hopefully that is exciting news to many people out there who are not quite yet ready to go out there and invest in a full Alienware or Origin PC, or maybe don't have the skills or wherewithal to go ahead and build your own PC for those low costs like Ken and I have shown you in the past. Look that you can now go to someone like Lenovo to help you out. And I say that specifically because Lieutenant Fork has been talking that she might be able to give me just about $600 to try to build her a gaming PC to help her avoid the temptation of going and buying an Xbone One. And so we finally got her convinced that if I can provide a PC for that cost, she will come back to the PC Master Race. So we'll see what I can do. It's been a challenge. And Kuro, I may be looking out to you to trying to get some more ideas on how we can better set her up so that we get the most bang for the buck.
Some people who've upgraded recently and are willing to give up their old graphics
exactly.
cards.
There's lots of ways to kind of fight that battle, so we'll see what we can do. So in the future, I may have a report on that. But yes, I'm very excited for other companies to look at, yes, we too can build gaming PCs for less than thousands and thousands of dollars. All right, Ken, back to you.
Sure thing. Minecraft, or more importantly, Mojang, has been bought by Microsoft. The transaction has finally gone through. There was rumors last week that we discussed, but it has actually gone through. Microsoft expects to break even on its Mojang acquisition by the end of June 2015, according to an investor relations release. Games Industry reports that the press release explains the company expects the acquisition to break. That's exactly what you just said. Are you kidding me? The acquisition should close later this year. Gaming is a top activity spanning many devices, from PCs to consoles to tablets and mobile, with billions of hours spent each year, says Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. Minecraft is more than a great game franchise. It is an open-world platform driven by a vibrant community we care deeply about, and will enrich with new opportunities for the community and for Microsoft. So that's great. Minecraft's currently available for the Xbox, for PlayStation, I believe. Also coming for the new consoles recently, as well as the 360 and PS3. It's also available for PC, for iOS, Android, and I believe some other mobile platforms. So Minecraft has made a ton of money because people buy it on each one, so that it's always available. So some people can buy Minecraft 4 times. Why? Jeez. I don't know. People are nuts, but you can do it.
Mobile devices, consoles, PC, everywhere.
I personally have bought friends gifts several times, so I think I've bought about 3 or 4 already in my lifetime. To be fair, it has been out for about 5-6 years now. Minecraft, how old is that thing?
Oh, gosh, I don't even know. It's been a while. It seems like it's been longer than that, but it probably hasn't. I'm old. My ability to check time is bad.
Let's go have a look. It came out on 2011 was the official release date, but you have to remember it was out before.
Yeah, it was live officially in beta forever.
For freaking ever, yeah, because they only had like one developer initially, so you can see why it took some time. So Microsoft's finally bought Mojang. For how much was it again? It was some billion.
50?
It was something billion.
Yeah, no, $2.5 billion for it, and it's funny because they've had 54 million copies have been sold.
Copy? I didn't know you were sold that many times. That's disgraceful.
Oh, shush. Well, you're the one that said you're deleting copy.
Oh, that's true. Sorry. So that's absolutely mental. But now Notch, the creator of Minecraft, the very first and the CEO of Mojang, has left, and he is done with it. Probably with at least $1 billion in his pocket, no doubt.
Oh gosh, if not more, yeah.
I know. There's a speech as to why he's left somewhere, but really, I'd be entirely surprised if it wasn't bitches and money. Bitches and money.
It's like, yes, I have all of the monies ever. Well, so it's funny. We kept talking that we really wish that Bobby Kotick would do that when he got all of his monies, that he would just exit the industry because he's poisoned.
Yeah.
Notch, on the other hand, I wouldn't mind if he took his money, then had a sabbatical, got really, whatever, and had fun, and then came back with some new vision on what he could do with a new game. That'd be great.
The best 7 months of his life, and then come back with all these new diseases.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, but he'll have money, so he can live forever with them.
Exactly. So, let's hope for the best for Notch. Hopefully, goes on to new endeavors which are interesting. We will see. Also, Copy says, my hobo druid Copy was my first WoW character ever, and she is 8 years old now. I'd be sad if she suddenly stopped existing. Sad face. So there we go. What you got, sir? What's up here? What's your next one?
Well, let's see. What else is important to all of you out there? No, I don't want to do that one. I don't want to do that one. See, the problem is a lot of mine are older ones. I'm trying to decide if any of them are as important today, because the longer they sit, the more stale they become. Oh, let's see. I think the net neutrality thing is already kind of at a stuck point with here in the U.S., so I don't know if we'll be able to go much further with that discussion. Other than everybody, if you're a congressman or anyone in the U.S. says anything about net neutrality, make sure they support it and push for that. Otherwise, tell them you're going to get them the arf out of politics, because they're going to destroy your future, because net neutrality is important. And otherwise, companies are going to turtle us down to what they define broadband at, which is like 2 megabit per second down. I think the actual number is 4 down, but it's still ridiculous when people's cell phones are faster than that now.
In terms of net neutrality and likes, if you sit there, stay on your butt, and do not sign or not do protest or not do anything, as they say, all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing.
Yeah, very good quote. Well, so the article around this that kind of made me talk about it, at least, is that it come up here, and it was again News 360 coming from Variety officially. It says comments to the FCC on net neutrality have surpassed 1 million. And I say that this is old because this came back from July. this article, but it was the FCC had received more than 1 million comments on its proposal for rules of the road for net neutrality or for the internet. It said that the deadline to file comments to the FCC was going to be Friday, and then they were going to take responses on those comments until this 10th of September, so all of that is passed. But much of the interest seemed to have been triggered by the notion that the FCC proposal will be too weak to prevent ISPs from making deals. And we still see that today, especially with Netflix, as they're basically making deals with every individual ISP to ensure that they stream the best quality content to all of its users. And in reality, it should be, I pay for the internet, I pay for access, just give it to me. Stop trying to decide how fast my feed should be versus what other people are getting because of what one company pays over another. They should all come to me equally fast. And no, we are not saturating the bandwidth yet, so that rule or that basically is a lie being used by the companies to say that, oh, we need more access to control so that we can ensure that you get the best experience you want. No, you need to not control, let it be, and let me decide what I partake of, essentially. So we'll go to that. Oh, so it's funny. Barry VA, thank you for joining in as you're getting ready for the casuals to come on. He jumped in and says the classic, "Hello, nurse!" And it says, as you go X say, "Nurse, what? How do you not understand that?" Specifically, it says, oh my god, that reference that went over your head is from the 90s. And so that came from the amazing show Animaniacs. And that came dear to my heart just recently because there's a concert going on next weekend here in town from an orchestra that's going to be playing all Animaniacs songs here in Denver. I am going to be in North Carolina doing ninja stuff. So I'm going to miss out on one of my not childhood really, but high school favorite activities ever, which is Animaniacs, because they're having original voice actors from the show come and sing their parts while the orchestra plays behind it. It's going to be freaking fantabulous, amazing, and I'm jealous as heck that I'm not going to it. So anyone in the greater Colorado or Midwest area that can get to Denver in time to catch this Animaniacs orchestral concert this next weekend, you should do so. Let's do it. September 20. It's going to be like the 7th or something like that. I think it's happening. But come to Denver, check that out. I'm so mad I'm going to miss it. I'm happy for what I'm going to be doing. But like so many things this month, there's too many things going on every day and weekend, and I'm busy all of it. So, my own little rant and rave. Anyhow, yes, I started with net neutrality. It's important. Get on it. If you see any opportunity to educate the masses around you, please let them know. All right, sir, back to you.
All right, I have an article I would like to mention, which is on a platform that's very close to our hearts, Steam. Steam is to support 11 new currencies. Now, wallets can weep in 16 currencies on Steam sale days, so says IGN. They've added support for 5 new international currencies on Steam: Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. But now, 5 more: Canada, Korea, Mexico, Norway, and Turkey will also be added in the coming weeks. The new currencies come on top of support for Japanese yen, which was introduced late last month, and follow other recent tweaks to the digital distribution software, including the ability to simultaneously install multiple items, which I love, by the way. It's awesome. So, Steam are still hard at work. Valve are awesome. Keep it up. Keep it up. I also want to mention 2 other little quick articles. Ion is celebrating its 5th anniversary. The free-to-play MMO Ion is celebrating Deva's Day. It's its in-game anniversary, which will mark the upcoming festivities with unique events, including double global item drop rates and giant cakes to treat players with buffs that increase drop rates by 10%. There will also be daily giveaways and contests via developer NCSoft's social media channels too. During the game's true anniversary on September 22nd, GM will be in-game to provide more freebies and general merriment. And I missed that. Wow, we did it well.
Wow, wait, did you say genital merriment? Is that what they're going to be providing?
That would be good, though. That would be good. I think you need more VR software for that, though. The celebrations are also heralded the introduction of new dazzling Divanian armor. For 1 N coin, the game's virtual currency, players level 10 and upwards can pick up the special gear to unlock level 50 to 60 stats and set bonuses. Cool. Whatever. Does anybody here actually play Ion? I'd be interested.
That's kind of the thing, right? As all these old MMOs become even older and are basically lingering in their life, as MMOs tend to do as they age, it's a good question as to how many people are really involved with that game anymore, and so does it matter? But at the same time, well, no, good that a developer is still supporting a game that they do have an active community in. And awesome that they're celebrating an anniversary. If you're going to reach that milestone, by all means, celebrate it, let the world know, have fun with it. That's awesome.
Definitely. Speaking of dying MMOs, The Elder Scrolls Online. Bethesda's official blog post on the update announces the addition of many new quests, the opening of roads, and a whole new challenge mode for veteran players. The Celestial storyline conclusion is now available, along with the roads to Upper Craglorn. The new trial called Sanctum Ophidia, in which players take the fight to the right of the heart of the Scaled Court, while battling the deadliest among their ranks, will reward players who successfully defeat the Scaled Court with the infamous Celestial Serpent with loot and renown. Finally, the latest update adds the Dragon Star Arena, in which veteran players will battle against waves of enemies in hazardous conditions for the glory of being crowned a champion. Bethesda have also noticed that many fixes, grouping improvements, and new trait for crafting are also included. For a full look, take at the fixes and changed in the full patch notes. ESO is a subscription-based MMO set in the world of Tamriel, a fantasyland, in the same setting as Morrowind, Skyrim, and Oblivion. It is currently only available on PC, although a console release is planned.
That'll help.
Yeah, that'll help a lot. That's what's going on. I know that Scottish Jay in the IRC has played it, and he's the guy I talked about months ago, who also promptly quitted afterwards after disliking it. He got bored with it. And kind of defines the game itself, in my opinion. I can see why you want to buy it, though, because, who didn't have high hopes for that game?
Hey, we had high hopes, but my advice to everyone when it comes to MMOs, and really any game, continues to be, don't buy it on launch. Wait 3-4 days. You don't really get that much more for launch. Maybe a neat new skin or a gun or something, depending on the game, but come on, wait.
I only have one word to say.
If it's terrible, just avoid it and you'll save yourself $60 or $50 or some people that played Ghost $130. So, yeah. What?
Yeah. I only have one word to say.
Yes.
iPhone.
Hey, I need a new phone. Mine's old.
So you needed one on launch day, did you? You needed it then, specifically.
Hey, I'm not getting it on launch day, am I? I'm getting it a month from now.
I thought you bought it, though.
I did pay for it, but hey.
So therefore you bought it. Okay.
It's hardware.
So you haven't seen any reviews of people who've had it for weeks yet, or months yet, no?
No, but I did go play with it and touch it and felt it before I actually bought it. I wouldn't.
Did you try having it for weeks and months beforehand?
No, I did not. I think the argument you are making is ridiculous.
And completely valid.
And not at all valid. Technology different from games.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because it's not technology. Okay. Anyway, with that, shall I do my spiel, sir?
Yes, do your spiel. Let us get out of here so I can continue writing it up and so that we can allow some room for others onto the interwebs like the casuals.
Sure thing. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/showx. Once again, like I said earlier, $1 a month would be awesome. It's only per month. That's $12 a year. That's what you'd spend on an expensive day in Starbucks. That's it. Pretty cheap to make us happy. Check out the VTW Gaming Night that'll be on in 1 minute's time. We'll be in Ventrilo hanging out there after I go and say hi to the kid and make sure she's still alive. Also, go and check out our Twitter. Go to twitter.com/showx, VTW Showx even, twitter.com/DocDead, and twitter.com/GoHex to check out the show, Wayne, and myself. Also, check out the Facebook page, facebook.com, and search for Showx at the top. And the VTW Productions page there as well. Send emails for your geek cred, what you've been up to for next week. We will read it out, maybe, and discuss any interesting articles you have as well, or any points you have. That is showx@vtwproductions.com. And be sure to listen and enjoy the casuals coming up next on air.
Alright, everybody, with that, you've been listening to Show X. Please listen to all the shows on vtwproductions.com. And Ken will catch you again next week as he is going to be running things and I will not be here. After that, we will have a few guests coming on in the future. Keep an eye out for that, as we really need to get like Molly Lewis back on the show now that I have proper video working, since I'm so disappointed I missed that. Anyhow, we'll catch you guys again next week listening to the casuals. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. See you next zombie. Good night.